Hi, I'm Gabriel Acree, and I'm going to talk to you about school violence today. Okay, April 20th, 1999 started out as a normal day at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. And seemingly out of nowhere, two of the Columbine students, Eric Harris and Dylan Claybold, came to school with an arsenal of weapons and explosives. In their rampage, they terrorized fellow students before shooting them at close range. 13 were killed and 24 were wounded before Harris and Claybold finally turned their weapons on themselves. Now, it's this kind of school violence that gets everyone's attention, but it's important to remember that school violence is much more than just people bringing weapons to school and going on a rampage. Some children are ruthlessly teased, laughed at, shoved around, or bullied at school. Not only is this emotionally scarring, but it can also cause the students to physically harm themselves as well. Now, I'm almost certain that you've heard of an incident of a student committing suicide because of the bullying that they faced every day at school. Well, the term school violence refers to violent criminal acts committed at educational institutions such as elementary, middle, high schools, and as well as colleges and universities. It can be classified as a single act of violence committed by a student against another student or teacher, an adult intruding the campus with the intention of causing harm, or a premeditated killing spree by a student, a former student, or an outsider. The National Center for Education Statistics is the agency within the U.S. Department of Education that tracks school violence in America. For the 2005 to 2006 school year, its annual report found that among 83,000 schools, 77% of them reported at least one incident. More than 7,000 incidents were characterized as a threat of a knife, a firearm, or a weapon look-alike by a student. These statistics suggest that thousands of United States students face a daily threat of violence in an institution charged with nurturing and protecting them. But are the students who attend public schools actually safe? Actually, yeah, they are. Statistics from the Opposing Viewpoints article titled "The Media Exaggerate the Problem of Youth Gun Violence" suggest 3% of students attending schools reported being attacked with a weapon at school, on the way from or to school, or at a sponsored event from the school. The rate of violence in these educational institutions is declining due to new security measures taken in areas of high risk for violence. These security measures include on-campus police officers, security cameras, and in some cases even metal detectors are used. The same goes for college campuses. Weapons are just simply not needed. They're not necessary to have in a place of learning. College campuses are much safer when firearms or other forms of weaponry are not present, especially if they are concealed. And it is a known fact that colleges and university campuses are some of the safest places to be, mostly because they have remained gun-free. Some people would argue that carrying guns on school campuses would decrease the risk of school shootings. Why somebody would attempt to make this kind of argument is absolutely beyond me, but even if we took the precautions of having background checks for concealed carry permits, most of the campus shootings were performed by a student with no criminal history and were almost always suicidal, so other students having weapons would not deter them whatsoever. So let's talk about the zero tolerance policies. Zero tolerance means exactly that. Schools with these types of policies do not accept any sort of bullying or violence of any kind, or so they say. What this really means, well, at least to the schools that I have attended, it means that if another student assaults you, you curl up on the floor and take the beating until a school official pulls you off, or pulls them off of you. If you try to defend yourself, you will get the exact same punishment they got simply because you fought back. And the punishment for that would usually be about 3 days of ISS, and which is in-school suspension and a slap on the wrist. but anyone who has children would agree that defending oneself should not carry a punishment. So, long story short, gun violence at schools that cause fatalities by far gets the most attention. But fatal incidents are few and far between. The biggest problem schools have is the bullying that happens on the school's campus. This can result in depression and even some cases suicide. We all need to work towards a more peaceful setting for our children and ourselves. It could mean the difference between life and death. Thank you very much.